You have already got late, so I'm asked to start the session straight away. Let me start by asking someone who is the additional director, mining department. Recently, Prime Minister Modi has heaped a lot of praises to Naveen Patnaik and his government for bringing a lot of reforms and innovation. And Odisha is the first state to have introduced Mines and Minerals Development Regulation Amendment Act 2015. So, Dr. Janak, can you please share how effective is your mining policies and reform to the rest of the country?
You have pointed out that Odisha has been praised by the Prime Minister in privilege to have a tall Chief Minister, not in size but also in the ethics. He has placed the right person in the right part and taken decision at the appropriate time. Odisha for the mining sector was ill-famed a decade ago. During 2009-10, everybody was talking of mining in a very wrong way, illegal mining and this commission inquiries, etc. From that point, through the able and stable leadership of our Chief Minister and able personalities posted at right places, we have reached this year 41,000 crores of rupees. This year we have already collected 41,000 crores and we will be reaching at least 45,000 crores by the end of this fiscal. This is 10 times more than what was during last decade. And from the production and dispatch aspect, we were producing 180 million ton of mineral in Odisha. We have already reached 261 million ton by today, and we are expecting 20 more million ton of mineral to be produced this year. So this is adding to the nation's treasure. Our Chief Minister immediately enacted upon that amendment, and we acted upon. We went for the auction, and auction has yielded enormous opportunity to us. Those mines which were at the individuals has gone to bigger companies. They are doing well. Government is getting enormous of wealth. Credit goes to the able and stable leadership.
Sir, you have spoken about value-based mining sector. How does it relate to the common people of Odisha?
You see, value-based, value addition to the mineral is the call of the day. We are fond of wearing Rolex and Rado watches, which cost more than lakhs of rupees, but contains metal of say 100 rupees. 100 rupees metal goes from our state or our nation and comes back at a cost of 1 lakh rupees or more. So that is real value addition. Still,
excellent, sir, excellent. One sector has perhaps gained substantially in this ensuing pandemic. That happens to be IT sector of Odisha. From 5 crores to 5,000 crores of export, which means Odisha is all set to be the IT destination of India. And thanks to the visionary Mr. Manas Panda, STPI director, and for his over a decade of persuasion and hardship journey, can you elaborate the exceptional IT growth story of Odisha?
To answer your question, started with the initiation of Government of India, the then Department of Electronics, when they formulated a software policy in later part of 1980s, that is 86 or 87. And under that software policy, they have come out with a scheme called Software Technology Pass Up Scheme. So it was a revolutionary step, visionary step of Government of India. And with that, they have offered lot of incentive to the IT exporting units. And they established 3 STP centers across the country. One is at Bangalore, the second one is at Pune, and the third one is at Bhubaneswar. So again, I would say, thanks to the visionary leadership, and they could foresee the potential of the state as well as potential of the city, but somehow we could not match the pace that Bangalore or Pune or the other metro, which is today now. See, but still if you compare to any tier 2 city, Bhubaneswar is very, very advantageous position. Bangalore has got its own advantage those days. Lot of intellect masses were there, like person like Narayan Murthy, like Wipro had lot of things, and lot of corporates. The like Indian Institute of Science, Education Institutes, the engineering colleges, those were present, and of course the proactive government of Karnataka, they come up with the policy, they come up with the infrastructure, which is the bare minimum need of any IT industry to set up this operation. One is resource, second is infrastructure, communications, those things are available, and they could able to tap and grab the incentive that are being offered by Government of India through STP scheme. And Pune, of course, being the satellite city of Mumbai or Bombay, but of course, those days, Bhubaneswar, we put very limited engineering colleges, number of graduate engineering college every year, passing graduates very less. The infrastructure was not there. But the momentum took place when Infosys announced their development center in later part of 1996 in Bhubaneswar. And that was the first development center beyond Bangalore, not even Karnataka, beyond Bangalore, before Mysore. So now they have got center across the country, across the globe. But they took a bold decision. They must have realized the potential of the eastern part of India. They could able to tap the opportunity. And those days I can recall only one single connectivity to Delhi, Air India was there in 1996, 97. Hardly any engineering colleges there, no social activity. We do not have any five-star accommodations, only Sosti, old Sosti, Station Square and the Trident Hotel. The two star category hotels are there. Still they could able to start, followed by Satyam, which is now Tech Mahindra. So the real moment of the IT industry started from, I can say, and Narayan Murthy himself, because those days connectivity was an issue, the data connectivity which was major and which was an issue at those days, and government announced STP as a datacom service provider, and they have established dedicated satellite gateways.
Right.
So Mumbai, Bangalore, those places, the gateway are already installed. Bhubaneswar, it was about to install. Narayan Murthy wrote request letter to Honorable the then Prime Minister, then the satellite gateway commission in Bhubaneswar. They took the first connectivity from this satellite gateway, which is right. It's not functional because satellite is absolute now. Right adjacent to Fortune Tower. Followed by TCS, Mindtree, the government of Odisha came up with the electronics policy, the new ICT policy. Then they come up with the IT park, infrastructure, InfoCity under EPIP scheme, Info Valley. So infrastructure, the social infrastructure, everything started coming, and connectivity got improved. Lot of private players like Reliance, Airtel, Tata, everybody now, I can see we are at par with any metros. We are better in a better position.
So the term called digital disruption technology has been widely spoken in the pandemic. How does it matter the common people of Odisha? Digital disruption technology.
Again, I want to stress upon digital disruption. During pandemic, everything is online. See, the healthcare system, the education system, the logistics system. So that we never had thought about those things if pandemic would not have been there.
True, sir, true.
So earlier, Odisha was not known as an enterprising state, but what I could realize, what I could see now, every month or every week, being a nodal agency of Startup Odisha, Government of Odisha, we are getting lot of application from these startups, from the entrepreneurs, from the research students. They are coming with lot of new ideas, new disruptive technology. And during pandemic also, even not only Odisha, entire country, they have come out with solutions that could help solve the problem of the citizen. Logistics was a great challenge. The healthcare system was a great challenge. nobody could able to thought, we could not able to produce the mass, the minimum requirement of the people that we could able to meet with the innovative idea, with the innovation that is happening inside the country. So I could say the inclusion of digital discussion or using digital technology during this pandemic would definitely help the common citizen.
Thank you so much, sir. Let me ask a fundamental question to the CEO Tata Power, Mr. M. Senbegum. When you took over the responsibility of power supply and distribution of Odisha, how tough was it considering the mammoth demographic and geographic scenario for a state like Odisha?
Odisha peak was just happening during that period, June and July. It was also a time when the earlier company called Sesu was run by 3 franchisees. And all the franchisees had to go. And that created a huge vacuum. We fill up that vacuum in a very, very short span as well. And then we look at a takeover of that part of time. It's a changeover which happens for the entire people of the organization, and we have close to 5,000 plus. So it wasn't easy by any means.
It's a great
And when I look at the infrastructure at that point of time, being a distribution company, it wasn't up to the mark as well. So by all means, we had a very tough time. But I must say, in the first 3 months, we could anchor in all these areas.
Great, sir. Great.
And slowly we got warmed up to the service of the customers of Odisha.
Excellent, sir. Sir, you have committed to providing reliable power supply, enhance customer services, reducing the existing ATC losses 30.49% in a systematic manner. Therefore, my question is that how has been your journey so far in keeping those promises intact?
I think as I look at India, rural customers, or in general, the power sector customers have not been having a great time in terms of the service part of it. So it was a great decision to see that privatization has happened in this area. An attempt was made earlier, but there were challenges. So we were more than ready to take this challenge forward. And as I look in the last 20 months, I must say that in the distribution area, there are 3-4 very founding areas. One is the first is the customer service part of it, be it on the supply side, be it on the service side of the commercial area. When you knock the doors of the company, you need to have a quick response. So we fundamentally set up those institutions, I must say, be it the call center, be it the customer care center.
Right.
So today when anyone walks or calls the call center, there is a response which happens immediately. If there is no power supply, even the call center will ensure that there is someone at the doorstep in the next few minutes. So having anchored this, I think the next issue was the reliability part of it. And the geography of Odisha or our DISCOM is pretty huge. So that's a very challenging area because the network is also pretty huge. So we have done in the last 20 months a systematic maintenance to ensure that the network and the assets are good enough to perform. We have added assets to see that we keep them strengthening. So we have taken close to a target of say anywhere around 1,500 crores to invest in the next 4 to 5 years, so that we are having an asset which can perform well. And technology plays a very key role in the distribution area. So right from the startup itself, we have a control room center right in Bhubaneswar, where the entire Bhubaneswar city, Cuttack city, Puri were managed in the first 6 months.
Excellent, sir.
At a press of a button, you know what's happening in all these 3 areas. So you can operate the entire city sitting here. You can monitor the entire city sitting from here, that you can respond to the situations in a much faster way. So technology has been a key enabler for us. And then of course, the team which is there, has to look after all these areas as well. So capability building, capacity building has been done. And of course, the core of distribution is how do you reduce the loss part of it. And we have focused in terms of technically mapping the entire network, understanding where the losses are so that we can plug them. And of course, as you go to the rural part, there are a lot of theft which happens. So we have worked on that to plug them as well. And I'm happy to share today, as we started our journey with 30 plus of AT&C loss, we would end up in this month itself with less than 25.
Excellent, sir. Now you have a health stalwart in with us, Dr. Alok Srivastava, CEO Apollo Hospital. Let me ask you, sir, a key question that the virulent pandemic has exposed many grey areas in our health sector, from getting the basic healthcare lab in compared to other developing states. In your wisdom, expertise, what are the key measures Odisha has to play in bridging the gap in our healthcare system? Mr. Srivastava.
Good evening, everyone. I feel honored to be part of this leadership gathering today evening. Well, I would start with saying that nobody was prepared to face the pandemic. Not just Odisha, any state, and it was a global pandemic. And the way it came, the way it spiked, nobody was ready. But it definitely gave us the challenge to understand where we stand and what kind of preparation we need to take care in order to fight it up. And we emerged as warriors while fighting out the pandemic. So if I were to summarize how the future has to be planned strategically, what we have an experience is there is an underutilization of resources in the peripheries. And when I say this, I mean that the primary healthcare setup and the secondary healthcare setup is yet underutilized. And the traffic of health and disease gets transferred to the metros, where the overburden or overutilization of healthcare infrastructure happens. So if this is the focus which can be developed, that the infrastructure is more strengthened in the peripheries, at least better utilization of healthcare infrastructure would help people understand where they stand. And secondly, when I say this, there's a greater need to supply that skilled manpower, not just the doctors. The doctors are one part of it, which come out through the medical schools. But the most important part of healthcare delivery is a patient is in the hand of a nurse and a technician for 24 hours. And there has to be a robust program which addresses the need of skilled manpower delivery, which has to be addressed. So these are the two things. If it can be addressed precisely, it will make infrastructure much better to address anything.
Excellent, sir. Sir, Biju Swasthya Kalyan Yojana has been a path-breaking program in the history of healthcare system, where crores of family would be able to get top quality health facility through this scheme. So my question is, how visionary is this to coverage a universal healthcare system in Odisha?
I think this is a very important aspect that you have touched to this question. Let me start by saying that the way this Yojana has given the power in the hands of a common man to fight a disease is really wonderful, and the government is driving the initiative very well. When I see at our hospital, all the beds get utilized. I mean, no bed is vacant when people are coming and utilizing their treatment in the hospital through BSKY card scheme. When I say this, the most important learning that we have today, basis the experience, is people come to the hospital for the treatment of the ailment, utilizing the BSKY scheme. But most of the time I find all the percentage of expenditure that they have to bear using the scheme has some limitation. And that's primarily because of the fact that people report to the hospital slightly late. If some model of detection happens in the periphery which ensures that first symptom recognition happens early, possibly the burden of disease will not take a toll in consumption of the amount that is available in the card for him to avail the scheme much early and come out with healthier outcomes.
Excellent, sir. Well said. Now the last round of 4 questions to go. Odisha is in the cusp of 4.0 or the fourth industrial revolution. So what sort of growth you want to see in the mining sector since you are at the helm of affairs in the mining departments of Odisha?
Odisha is marching ahead. The largest producer of iron, coal, and bauxite, chromite. Chromite is only available in India, in Odisha. 98% of chromite is in Odisha. Well, in coming days, mining has to grow. Mining is growing. Mining will be growing, self-sustainable, and it will have its longevity and stability. And in coming days, I believe mining will spearhead the Odisha state, and Odisha will be reckoned as one of the prominent states of India.
So how confident are you Odisha to be genuinely a true IT hub in the coming time also?
Odisha, as I mentioned in my last talk also, we have got all that in our state, which the IT industry needs now. We have got better resources. In Odisha, Bhubaneswar is positioned as one of the best preferred location. There is a very, very proactive government. The government is very supportive. The government is this both state and government of India, they are coming up with policy, IT policy, which is industry friendly, investment friendly policy, and we have got adequate infrastructure. And more often, this place is very, very calm, very, very socially inclined. And if you talk about even in Infosys, when they came here, their employee, they used to come to our home for lunchtime. The commuting time is very short. Crime rate is very, very less here. So it's stable. In fact, the environment, the pollution system, everything is very good. So I could see, I 100% guarantee that this is the preferred location.